Hello. Hi, Donna. How are you? Let's see here. I always forget. Here you go. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy Monday.
Yeah.
Well, are you excited about Thanksgiving?
Um, we're just having a small group this time for once because I couldn't do everything this
Mhm.
time.
Right.
So it's just going to be a few of us, and we're doing like a mini Thanksgiving. So our church is like 9 pounds.
Hey, that's okay. Sometimes the smaller it is, the nicer it is. You just have more time to be with your family or friends yeah, that's
It's
nice.
simple.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and mute everything here and we'll get started. All right. So let's start with common words. Here we go. Ready? Car, tomorrow, winter, sick, side, mean, direct, part, herewith, into, sending, state, interest, pay, having, try, quite, boy, correct, freight, April, red, chance, pay, balance, line, answer, department, name, girl, enclosing, bed, therefore, mail, fact, instructions, heart, news. Okay, now I've got some words that end with final M, final K, final, let's see. Yeah, they're all final M, final K. Okay, here we go. Bum, suck, fame, pick, Rome, sake, loam, rake, ham, hack, ram, rack, boom, lake, womb, nook, came, cake, bomb, wake, frame, knack, hum, trek, dam, deck, cam, tack, room, wreck, dim, bike, jam, bleak, flame, flack, comb, sack, loom, hook, rum, wreck, blame, break, room, mic, time, hawk, chrome, crack, home, make. Okay. This is going to be a continuation of serial numbers, license plate numbers. Yeah, license plate numbers or serial numbers, okay? Here we go, ready? 89G 6197, Nebraska 97H 9321, Utah 85A 8320, Wyoming A 911483, Georgia 6263V6, 099196C, D701207, New Mexico 3452Z3, Maryland H74002, Arizona 4501Z8, New Hampshire 0259Q7, Tennessee 358110K, Louisiana F506725, Vermont 72J4510, Indiana 73H28B, Wisconsin 759035B, Vermont F654569, Iowa 91B7452, Illinois Q1983A7, Kansas 893264C, Alaska 2367290, Maine N046775, Nebraska 54D372G, Virginia 0589QT1, Georgia L5781MN, 90Y1086, 103916P, N151889Q. All right. Moving on to Tangle Tamers. All right, here we go. Ready? Single most valuable, brownish blonde hair, laws and regulations. Motive is immaterial, result of feudalism, enacted many statutes. Highway delineator, holding or acquiring, letter of attorney, influencing official conduct, divided into degrees, picking a pocket, constitutes the inducement, adequacy of consideration, immediately surrounding, recommended bibliography, surrounding circumstances, deliberate premeditation. All right, names and addresses. Here we go. Ms. Jolene Smith, Gilroy High School, 6653 Church Street, Gilroy, California, 95020. Ms. Dorothy J. Owskey, Owskey, State of New Jersey, Training School for Boys, Skillman, New Hampshire, 08558. Ms. Lori V. Van Gorder, VANGORDER, 9239 Ridge Road, Kinsman, Ohio, 44528. Ms. Angie Brown, BROWN, Route 2, Box 173, Maiden, North Carolina, 28650. Sister Jeanne Marie Jones, JONES, Catholic Central High School, 319 Sheldon Avenue, Southeast, Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49503. Mrs. Lourdes G. Desari, DESARRI, 145, 224th Street, Rosedale, New York, 11413. Ms. Melissa L. Snyder, SNYDER, 124 Grand Street, Danville, Pennsylvania, 17821. Sycamore High School. Kathy Hammett, HAMMETT, Spartan Trail, Sycamore, Illinois, 60178. Ms. Sue B. Lutz, LUTZ, 1343 Lenz Court, Shiaben, Wisconsin, 53081. All right. My next drill is going to be the she and they drill. Okay, so it focuses on she and they. Great drill. Here we go. They open at 10 p.m. Why did she do it? They drove to town. Isn't she kind? They are very sweet. She ran too fast. They went to the bar. She went on vacation. I know what they said. She kept old coins. They left the city. She sent a letter. They said she left. She bought a new car. Are they ready yet? I think they were late. She isn't very happy. When did she mail it? I know they told us. What did she write? They wanted the book. Where did she go? She said they called. She said it is important. They formed a club. They are just visiting. They opened an office. She said they imported it. Is she in a mood? Did she pay the bill? What could they want? They were too hasty. They made her angry. When was she present? She teased the dog. She went to a movie. They watched the races. What did they win? She raced on Friday. I know she will succeed. She wanted coffee. They swam every day. They were to buy stock. They had questions. She missed the plane. She was there yesterday. All right, common phrases that you often hear. So you're going to want to phrase as much as possible. All right, here we go. Where he was, where I was, where was, whether he was, whether I was, whether or not he was, whether or not I was, which he was, which I was, which was, who was, we are, we believe, we believed, we can, we cannot, we could, we feel, we felt, we have been, we have believed, we have had, we recall, we recalled, we recollect, we recollected, we remember, we remembered, we shall, we should, we think, we understand, we was, we were, as you were, if I were, if you were, it were, she were, so you were, that you were, that were, they were, this were, we were, what you were, when were. All right. Consonant compounds. This is going to focus on initial consonants K, W. All right, here we go. Quail are not related to quadroons and quadrilles. She had quaint ideas about quick quacking ducks. When the queen came, they quacked by quacking. Quakers settled in Pennsylvania quite frequently. If you have quality, you will quickly qualify. Have no qualms about the quizzes and quarrels. The building was quarantined because of quizzical quail. The quarrels were numerous and quoted quarterly. Seek your query about the cubic. A quarterly publication is quite enough. Quartermaster furnishes supplies and quips. Corpse is semi-precious like quality quince. It was a quiet quasi-judicial meeting. His qualifications were quite questionable. The quartet quibbled and quabbled like quaddles. Quotas are not quoted in quotants. My quondam companion had a quill and lived on a Quonset hut. Quicksilver is not quicksand or quartz. Say the quatrain without quivering and quavering. Quintuplets quoted questions, quotants, and quips. A little challenging to say. All right. I've got 2 drills left, okay? My last drill is going to focus on, word drill is going to focus on again, gain, against, and gains. Okay, again, gain, against, gains. Here we go. Come back again. Was there any gain? Let's see it again. Play it again, Sam. His loss is my gain. He has fallen again. Throw a high curve again. Did the market gain? I'll make it again. It has broken again. His campaign gained. Are you going again? Listen to him again. He is gaining favor. Let's see it again. Tell me that again. He is gaining on us. You can ask again. Question the witness again. Did his stock make a gain? It's against my principles. Lean against the wall. They have made gains. It's against the tide. Are you against that? My watch gains time. Time is against them. He'll argue the case again. Don't jeopardize the gains. The jury voted against us. He's up against it. Repeat the ruling again. The team made gains. It gained momentum rapidly. Vote against the bill. She testified against him. Rub against the grain. I read it again and again. He gained every second. He made gains this year. Vote against the tax. He's dead set against it. It's Navy against Army. The gains are recorded. I know he's against it. They lost the case again. Don't let him gain on you. He's playing against time. Put it against a post. Do your lessons again. Note all the gains. Can you measure the gains? Vote against that policy. Vote against the bond. All right. Last drill focuses on basic briefs. You're going to hear the following. Let me just state this. Okay, so you're going to hear the following basic briefs, okay? Let me know if there's something you don't know. I'm sure you know all of these. As long as, ambulance, as far as many as much as near as soon as well as, available, boyfriend, citizenship, contract, counselor, courtroom, crosswalk, district attorney, driveway, eastbound, easterly, eastern, estimate, exam, examination, examine, example, exhibit, freeway, friendship, girlfriend, green light, headache, headlight, heroin, highway, how fast, how long, how old, how many times, how many, how was, how were, and innocence. Okay. Here are your sentences. Here we go. As long as you are safe, you can go. She rode in the ambulance. John is not ill as far as I know. We have had as many as 10 dogs. It could cost as much as $20. I never knew he lived as near as he did. We will go as soon as Dad gets home. Frank is here as well as Tom. The shirt is no longer available. Chris is Sandy's boyfriend. George obtained citizenship. You have signed the contract. My mom is a school counselor. This courtroom is huge. Do not enter the crosswalk. Andy is the district attorney. Philip backed out of the driveway. The suspect was driving eastbound. The wind is blowing in an easterly direction. It is 8 p.m. Eastern time. I estimate she is 9 years old. Tomorrow there will be an exam. He was nervous about the examination. The doctor had to examine her bruise. I have a great example of art. The exhibit had opened in February. Which way to the freeway? She and I have a grand friendship. Jim really needs a girlfriend. It is a green light. You're giving me a headache. One headlight is out. They busted the heroin lab. It is a dark, dark highway of knowledge. How fast were you going, ma'am? How long have you two been friends? How many showed up? How many times have you been there? How old were you in this picture? How was the movie? How were they stated? The girl's innocence was lost. All right, moving on to literary. I marked this neat recipe. It sounds really good. In fact, I think I'm going to make it for Thanksgiving. It's called mixed berry galettes. All right, here we go. And this is great because it's got numbers in it as well. I will read this. I'll read this at 180, okay? These rustic free-form pies are perfect for a simple dessert. Top them with vanilla ice cream and freshly whipped cream if you would like. For a very flaky crust, be sure to not overwork the dough. Serve 6 to 8. Crust: 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup or 1 stick of unsalted butter cold, 4 ounces sour cream, cream cheese cold, ice water, egg wash for crust, 1 egg, 1/2 cup of heavy cream, lightly beat egg and cream together, berry mixture, 1 cup of blueberries, 1 cup of raspberries, 1 cup strawberries sliced, 3/4 cup granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons lemon juice, 3 tablespoons of instant tapioca. In a large bowl, add the flour, salt, and sugar. Using a pastry cutter or 2 forks, cut in the butter and cream cheese until you have pea-sized pieces. Add a little cold water at a time until you can gently squeeze the mixture together with your hands. Place the dough in a large zip-style bag and refrigerate for 2 to 3 hours or overnight. In a large bowl, combine the berries, lemon juice, sugar, and tapioca. Stir gently with a spoon and set aside. Lightly dust a work surface with flour and roll out the dough into 1/4 inch thick rounds. Place rounds onto a parchment-lined half-sheet pan. Spoon the fruit mixture evenly onto the center of each pastry. Fold up the edges, crimping gently as you go, or crimping. The berry filling will make it visible. Brush with egg wash. Bake in a preheated 400-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes or until nicely golden brown and fruit is bubbly. Let cool slightly, then serve topped with vanilla ice cream and whipped cream. Your cat is so cute. I just love him. He is so cute. Oh, oh, he just wants love. Oh, that's awesome. All right, I have an article for you. How are we doing? Oh, good. We're doing great on time. This is called Taking Care of Our Future. And it was in the NCRA magazine. Okay. All right, here we go. And I'll read this at 180, okay? Because it is literary. Here we go. Last month, I was honored to address the Firm Owners Executive Conference in Orlando. This annual event brings together the business people, reporters, and leaders of our profession for a weekend of educational sessions, a cutting-edge vendor showcase, and networking that stands apart from any other gathering of ours. The focus is on the business side of our work. The message I brought to these industry leaders on the topic of change is a message no less important for each of us as modern professionals to heed. Change, that's a charged word. We may not be able to manage change, but success in today's marketplace will be characterized by our willingness to accept change and leverage it to our advantage. We have the tools and technologies we need to succeed. The challenge is to embrace change and communicate to our clients why it matters. That's true leadership. Once we own change, it becomes part of the solution and not part of the problem. New tools and technologies represent solutions for our clients' needs today. When you focus on the potentials and not the pitfalls, harnessing change and innovation will set you up for success and put you in the driver's seat as we head into that great unknown, the future. NCRA is working to help shape our future. I have a clear-eyed view of what NCRA is capable of accomplishing, and our guide is our strategic plan, Vision 2018. Your NCRA leadership sought membership feedback. We got it, and we have crafted a plan that directs our efforts in 6 key areas: education, professional development, awareness and outreach, advocacy, resources, and member value. We are a peerless profession with a proud history and a bright future, and we need to make sure everybody knows that. NCRA continues its outreach efforts by fostering relationships with organizations that matter to our members. Our goal is to remind the marketplace about the unique value of stenographic real-time reporting in society today. And the key word is real-time. It's real-time services that our clients want. Real-time is our stock in trade. It's our core competency and our ticket to a secure future. At NCRA's boot camp, your state leaders from across the country get training and then descend upon the halls of Congress to meet face-to-face with elected leaders and educate them about issues that are key to our profession. NCRA's government relations team works closely with your state leaders on the issues affecting your business and your marketplace. The Vision for Educational Excellence Task Force brought together some of the most knowledgeable thinkers and educators in our profession to brainstorm the path to a successful future for our shared profession. We now have significant projects in the works, including an industry outlook report that will project the demand for court reporting services 3 to 5 years out. While its purpose is to produce marketing data to empower the recruitment efforts of schools, it will also provide insights for firm owners as well. We are also developing an MOOC, a massive open online course. It is an educational channel that will allow NCRA to reach a large audience of potential court reporting students and showcase the career opportunities we offer. This bold concept will offer educational sessions at a low cost so that young people can take a peek at our profession before making a longer-term commitment to a formal court reporting program. NCRA has reaffirmed its commitment to provide world-class professional development for its members. Whether that's NCRA's annual convention and expo or TechCon, join us for seminars, social events, networking opportunities, and vendor displays. Share experiences, ideas, and best practices one-on-one. Strengthen your network and the wider network we all share as professionals. You've heard this from me before. Competition is part of the DNA of our society. So is tolerance, which is simply respect for the other guy's point of view. In fighting to maintain our position as honored and well-paid professionals, we need to focus on what we do best. Our real-time skills are unique. Nobody else has the real-time skills that we do. That's our competitive advantage. I urge you not to be distracted by the companies and technologies and people we compete with. There's always competition, but the marketplace that determines the value of our services is driven by the real-time services that we provide. Draft transcripts, real-time hookups, streaming text, captioning, and the new and exciting niche markets made possible by our real-time skills. I want to share with you the wide array of member services NCRA has designed and deployed for one purpose: to help you compete. Everyone knows about our flagship credentialing and certification programs, but there are many other tools NCRA offers to help you reach your professional and business goals. Competition? Sure, there's competition, but we have the tools for you, our members, to win. Thought that was a neat article. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, it's 27 after. Okay. So I am going to give you, one more literary on child support inequalities. Okay. So you're going to hear revolutionary, alimony, equalize, legislative, inescapable, garnishment, discrepancy, non-custodial, acrimony, alleviating, sociologists, automatic, implicit, divorce. Okay. All right. And this is going to be, it is a little bit more on the challenging side. So I'll read this at 180, okay? Here we go. When California passed the nation's first no-fault divorce law in 1970, judges, lawyers, and sociologists hailed the measure as a revolutionary step designed, in part, to remove all of the acrimony from the divorce process to allow people to remain parents to their children. 40 years later, acrimony may have declined, but so have economic protections for millions of women and children. 85% of divorced women are awarded no alimony at all. When judges divide family income, they often give the husband 2/3 and the wife and children 1/3. Despite court orders, non-custodial fathers repeatedly fail to pay nearly $4 billion in child support each year. As a result, divorced women and their children experience a 73% drop in their standard of living during the first year, while their former husband enjoys a 42% rise in theirs. There are among the sobering statistics from a 10-year study of divorce based on an analysis of 2,500 divorce records and interviews with hundreds of judges, attorneys, and divorced men and women. Hardest hit have been the middle and upper middle class women, groups formerly protected by alimony and child support. Alimony awards to mothers of preschool children have dropped more than for any other group, with only 13% receiving spousal support. The evidence is just inescapable that some lawyers and judges are saying that if women want equality, this is a way to give them equality. These technical attempts at equality are misguided because of the economic inequalities between men and women in the larger society. In the near future, there doesn't seem to be the kind of equality among women that would allow the premise of the current law, which is that men and women can be equally responsible for supporting themselves after a divorce. This is essential because women are still much more likely to be the primary caretakers of the children in most families. Alleviating some of the injustices in the system requires a redefinition of marital property. Instead of counting only tangible assets such as the family income, family home, furnishings, cars, and investments, courts must consider career assets. These include pensions, health insurance, education, and professional licenses. To exclude these from divorce settlements is like promising to divide the family jewels equally, but allowing the husbands to keep all of the diamonds. There are still discrepancies in career assets. The only way to be fair about dividing assets is to add them together and then divide them equally. Marriage is a partnership. If two people really believe in the partnership, everything they acquire during the marital partnership should be joint property and should be divided equally. The call for legal and judicial change becomes much more urgent in light of recent census data. Projections show that 60% of all children born in the United States today will spend part of their lives in single-parent families. Among women in their 20s today, 40% can expect to be in the single-parent family at some time. Already half of the single mother head of household families live in poverty. to reduce that poverty, it was recommended that child support awards be based on an income sharing approach to equalize the standard of living in the custodial and non-custodial household after divorce. Awards should include automatic adjustments for cost of living increases. One progressive step came in October when the Child Support Enforcement Amendments went into effect, requiring wage garnishment and intercepts on income tax refunds for parents who do not pay court-ordered child support. Studies show that men who earn between $80,000 and $100,000 a year were just as likely not to comply fully with child support orders as men who earn only $50,000. It is so easy for them not to pay, so optimal, that they know they can get away with it. A law has now been recommended mandating support for children over 18 who are still dependent. There are women who aren't getting child support because their kids are over 18 and are supposed to be independent, who in fact are supporting children in college. For these older women divorcing after long marriages, there must be clauses allowing them to keep the family home and maintain the same standard of living as their ex-husbands. Beyond these legislative reforms, how can women protect themselves while they are still married? First, it is important that all women stay knowledgeable about the type of assets they have. In addition, these women should consider a legal contract that says, in effect, if I take time out of my career to be a mother, to invest in your career, to be a helpmate, then we have to recognize that I deserve something in return for that. In fact, that's the implicit contract. Okay. Moving into jury charge. The subject is weighing the evidence. Okay, weighing the evidence. And I will read this at 200, okay? Okay, here we go. Members of the jury, you are the sole judges of the truthfulness of the witnesses and of the weight that is to be given to their testimony. It is not your duty to accept the testimony of witnesses blindly and follow it passively, but it is your duty to consider it with care, subject it to your experience and judgment, and accept it only so far as it appeals to you as being unreasonable or reasonable and true. While it is your duty to accept as true the uncontradicted testimony of an unimpeached witness giving with apparent fairness and candor, still you are not obliged to accept the testimony of a witness as true merely because there is no testimony contradicting it. If it contains contradictions or improbabilities, which standing alone or in connection with other evidence in the case, furnish reasonable grounds for believing that it is not true, you are at liberty to so regard it. If you find and believe from the evidence that any witness has willfully or knowingly testified falsely with respect to any material matter in the case, you are then at liberty to disregard the testimony of such witness with regard to the other matters, except insofar as such witness is corroborated by other credible testimony. But you are the sole judges of the truthfulness of such a witness as well as any other, and you may believe or disbelieve his testimony with respect to other matters accordingly as you deem it worthy or unworthy of belief. You may take into consideration the interest of the witnesses in the result of the action, their appearance upon the witness stand, their demeanor in the courtroom, their relation to the parties, if any, and all of the facts and circumstances in connection with the trial, and give to the testimony of each witness just such weight and credibility as you think it deserves. You are not to count the number of witnesses and render your verdict in accordance with the majority of them, but to weigh the testimony and render your verdict in accordance with the truth. It is the law that during the first 12 hours of your deliberations, you can only render a verdict by unanimously agreeing upon the verdict. However, if you fail to agree during the first 12 hours, the law permits you after that to render a verdict that has been agreed upon by 5/6 of your number. In case you render a unanimous verdict, it should be signed by your foreman as such. But if you render a 5/6 verdict, it should be signed only by those concurring in the verdict and not by your foreman unless he be one concurring, in which case he will sign the same as the rest and not as foreman. You will select one of your number as foreman when you retire to the jury room. And when you have agreed upon the verdict, bring it into court if the court is in session. If the court is not in session, seal up your verdict, give it to your foreman, and bring it in when the court next convenes. If you agree upon a verdict, which the court is in session, you will not seal it up. All right. We'll go ahead and start with Q&A. I pulled everything that, let's see, everything that has to do with deposition, okay? So we can get some deposition practice in. Okay, so this first one is one page, let's see here. Yeah, plaintiff, it's a depo, and the defense does jump in, okay? Okay, let me just date this. All right. So you're going to hear alongside, police, degree, assistance, approximately, estimate. Okay. Period of time, initial P, final FT. That's always a good one. Okay, so it's going to start. It's going to, plaintiff's going to question, but defense will jump in, okay? And I'm going to read this at 200, and then I'll read it again at 225. Okay. When you stopped this vehicle, did the police unit stop in back of it or alongside of it or in front of it, or how? In back of it. Did you and Mr. Morris both leave the police vehicle? Yes, sir, we did. Did you have your guns drawn? Yes, sir, I did. Did Mr. Morris go to one side and you go to the other side of the pickup truck? No, sir. Did you order Mr. Warren out of the truck? Yes, sir. Now, when Mr. Warren was ordered out of the truck, tell us how he got out of his vehicle. He got out of his vehicle with his hands in front of him, with his hands extended. They were extended upward at about a 45-degree angle, I would estimate. Palms downward? Yes, sir. Approximately what period of time elapsed from the time of the call until the arrival of the backup unit? The backup unit arrived, I would say, approximately 2 minutes after we stopped Mr. Warren in his vehicle. And that backup unit, the function of the officers in the unit would be to take care of the vehicle. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And render any assistance that we might need. What time of night was this approximately? It would have been approximately 11:50. Are you sure it was 11:50? Well, I looked at my watch. Okay, so I'm going to read it again at 225. Here we go. When you stopped this vehicle, did the police unit stop in back of it or alongside of it or in front of it, or how? In back of it. Did you and Mr. Morris both leave the vehicle, the police vehicle? Yes, sir, we did. Did you have your guns drawn? Yes, sir, I did. Did Mr. Morris go to one side and you go to the other side of the pickup truck? No, sir. Did you order Mr. Warren out of the truck? Yes, sir. Now, when Mr. Warren was ordered out of the truck, tell us how he got out of his vehicle. He got out of his vehicle with his hands in front of him, with his hands extended? No, they were extended upward at about a 45-degree angle, I would estimate. Palms downward? Yes, sir. Approximately what period of time elapsed from the time of the call until the arrival of the backup unit? The backup unit arrived, I would say, approximately 2 minutes after we stopped Mr. Warren in his vehicle. And that backup unit, the function of the officers in the unit, would be to take care of the vehicle. Is that correct? Yes, sir, and render any assistance that we might need. What time of night was this approximately? It would have been approximately 11:50. Are you sure it was 11:50? Well, I looked at my watch. Okay, moving to our next Q&A. I'm going to start this at 200 and work my way to 225. This is depo, okay, deposition format. This starts with defense attorney. Here we go. Did you take any particular education or studies to qualify as a title searcher? No. Were you required to take any particular studies to qualify as a title officer? No. Please describe your educational background. I've got a BS in law enforcement, high school diploma, and a junior college diploma. Where did you receive your BS? Berkeley. Where did you receive your AA? It was in Merced Junior College. Do you have a particular major? Law enforcement. You went to high school where? Washington High School. Can you list your work experience starting with what led you to decide your first major job, perhaps before or after leaving school? Give me the years. This was my first major job after leaving college. Why didn't you go into law enforcement? It took too long. What was that caused you to decide to go into title searching or title insurance work? Economics. Is any member of your family connected with First American Title or title insurance position? No. Have you been convicted of a felony? No. Are you familiar with the piece of property in approximately Irvine Canyon? I object to that question on the grounds that it's vague. I don't know what you mean by familiar with. Maybe you could ask if he ever did anything with respect to the property. Okay, I'm trying to establish some ground rules so we make sure we're talking about the same property in the deposition. I'd like to ask you a series of questions regarding some property in Irvine Canyon that was at one time owned by Jane Landers. It may still be owned by Jane Landers. Have you in your position at First American come into contact with the property that matches that description? Why don't we agree that for the purposes of this deposition, you can call it whatever you want to call it, okay? Okay, anyway, the person ordering the report said, I want 2 preliminary title reports. Copies, yes, 2 copies, all right. In this information generally placed at the time the order is taken. Yes, it's a request form that the person ordering the report is. What is the significance of plats following the term 2 prelims? Sometimes we just send out reports with a map or without a map to support the legal description. It all depends. So what does that have to do with the plats? A plat in title insurance jargon is just an identification of a map. Okay, all right. The next box below it says hold for. What is intended to be placed in that box? Any information that would be requested to hold for further instructions or hold for any other supported documents that would be apparent to this file. Okay, now within this box, there is a January 26, 2011 reference. First of all, do you know what that says? Is that your handwriting? No, the reference there is our typing pool when they sent out the reports. Oh, okay, all right. Now on the same line as January 26, is that a series of initials? What is that? It could be yes. Do you know? No. Do you have any idea what the significance of the letters are? No. Then it says to poll, P-O-L. Is that correct? Yes. What does that mean if you know? No. Then it has M-R-R-O-H-O-L-D. I don't really know. Does that appear to be someone's name? Do you recognize that as someone's name? I don't know. Then the word binder, and then there is a R. Brandt. Possibly. Let me ask you again, do you know what that entire entry means or signifies? No, I don't. You had said that it possibly had something to do with the typing pool. Yes, that's their own system when the reports would be delivered, and whatever the rest represents, I'm not sure. Okay, is it your belief that the entry somehow communicates that something was delivered on or about January 26, 2011? Yes. What is that would be delivered? Is that the binder? A report was delivered, yes. The report, it says binder. That's the reason I suggested binder. I don't know if that was delivered. It is just, I believe he's saying that he knows something was delivered. That was the day something was delivered, but he does not know what these particular notations represent. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, can you tell from looking at that who did the delivery? No. By delivery, you mean mailed or sent out through the courier service? All right, those will be the normal means of delivering the actual report. Yes. Or a binder? Yes, that is correct. Okay, now there is a December 18, 2010 entry. Is that in your handwriting? No. Do you recognize the handwriting? No. Can you tell me what it says? No. Do you have someone with the initials LR who may have been at First American about that time? Maybe. Maybe. We have 250 employees in that building. Okay, the next line says to P-R-E, to Brandt. Is that correct? Yes. Would you understand that to mean that 2 preliminary reports were somehow given to Brandt? Yes. What does it say below that? All to T0 for maps. Okay, all T0 for maps. What does that mean to you? There was no map submitted with the report, and they're asking me to get them for them. Okay, what about that? How do you feel about that? Excuse me? What about that entry causes you to feel that they are asking you to do anything? Well, TO represents title officer. Okay, all right. Now, do you recall seeing this particular entry, having seen this in December of 2010? I see them daily. So you don't have any particular recall about this one, is that correct? Right. Let me ask you, do you have any recollection from December of 2010 of dealing with the December 9, 2010 packet? 9? Yes. Okay. The question is, do you remember dealing? Do you remember this? Yes. What do you remember doing in connection with this particular title search or title preliminary report? Nothing other than it was represented to me today. So as you sit here today, you don't have any memory of dealing with this packet, the December 9 packet in December of 2010, other than seeing it. This is the first time I've seen it since that point in time, yes. Okay, having seen it, does it refresh your memory that you actually saw it in December of 2010? Yes. Do you recall functioning as a title officer in connection with this packet in 2010? Yes. Do you recall what, if anything, you did in that capacity in December of 2010? Compiling a search as requested by Mr. Brandt? Yes. You recall compiling a search? Oh, a searcher compiling it and reviewing it for typing and submission to Mr. Brandt. That means you recall reviewing it, is that correct? Yes. Let me make you understand. Sitting here today, you remember in December what you did in that December in reviewing it? The sequence of events in the actual physical reviewing, yes. That means, do you actually remember going through it? No. Okay, sometimes people say or feel they remember something because they know they did it. All right, so we're going to try to delineate, if possible, between what you actually remember and what you believe you did based on what is in front of you, okay? Do you understand? Yes. That's why I'm asking you, what do you actually remember, if anything, concerning this title search in December of 2010? Just the uniqueness of it as far as an appraisal. Okay, what do you mean by that? The uniqueness as far as an appraisal. Just that Mr. Brandt was wanting a report to be issued with a possible policy to be issued, not knowing the excessive value of the land, and he's submitting to my company an independent appraisal of the company. So you recall feeling something was unique about that in December, is that correct? Yes, it's very seldom somebody doesn't know property values in Orange County. Is there anything else about Mr. Brandt or the appraisal that you consider unique? No. Do you recall reviewing the title information that the searcher provided to you in December of 2010? No. Do you recall any of the thinking process or decision-making process that you went through to finally approve the preliminary title report in December of 2010? No. Does the fact that you have the packet in front of you at all refresh your memory and assist you in recalling anything that you previously said that you can't recall? No. Let's continue in with our description of Exhibit A. In the lower left corner, there is a term account, and then there is a series of letters or numbers. What do they mean? What is signified by what is written there? Well, that represents the area searched by the searcher. Why don't we give you a good copy and he can look at the original? Okay, by area, do you mean geographical area, or do you mean file or book or some other thing such as that? First American's identification of the area requested to be searched. Again, is it a geographical area that you are referring to? The property, how the property is identified within First American. Is it a legal description? As in our plant, which contains all of the documentation concerning the property, that is information that we would use internally to identify the property being requested to search. All right, it says account 11, block 181. Is there some other kind of system of filing that you go to find that? Yes. What would you look for? Well, our books are set up alphabetically and numerically, and we would go through to book I1 and block 181. So it's I1 and not 11? Yes, it's I1 and block 181 would represent the numerical block within I1 that the property is located in. Okay, the next line down, what does it say? ARB, what is that? ARB itself would represent the northwest quarter of the northeast quarter contained within the blocks of the alphabetical identification that we would have to search the property in. What do the letters ARB mean? That represents the arbitrary number that First American would give the property for our own identification. Then the letters LDS, what does that mean or signify? That's another alphabetical identification. That's our lands account. You say lands accounts? Is that what you got? Yes, go ahead. I got lands account. Yes, lands account. Does the combination of letters ARB, LDS mean arbitrary lands accounts or arbitrary block accounts or ARB tract? So I take it you could find an ARBTRK for tract or LDS for lands? That is right. All right, then 384 is a number that First American assigns to this piece of land, an area that this piece of property would be contained in, yes. Meaning it can be found in area 384? Yes, but that wouldn't necessarily be specifically this piece of property. It would include this property and other lands. Okay, then am I correct that it's the remaining means it's found in the northeast corner? Yes, or the northwest quarter. I have NW quarter dash NW. I am sorry, NE dash NW quarter. Yes. Does that mean either of those quarters is where it can be found? Or both? Or both. And then SW quarter, could it be in all of the quarters? Yes. Partially or wholly. Then number 4 or 5, what does that signify? That's another type of identification of the property itself too. This search has encompassed many areas, so we had about 3 or 4 different references that we had to make. I'm going to write in the word searcher next to Rex. Okay? Okay, let's go back up to the second column. It says report and write. What does that mean? Write the report, and the numbers 1 through 6 represent how many copies are being requested. The date, what does that signify? You request the effective date of the report. And then the word best, what does that signify? The person purportedly with an interest in the property. What do the letters A to A? What does the letter A with the circle around it mean? It means the searchers. It's an identification. You might go to A or B to B or C to C. It will just identify what they want to be picked up at that point. It's a notation in the typing pool. Pick up A to A. Yes, yes. Okay, let's go off the record, back on the record. There is a document, if I understand, based upon what you said off the record, where there is some information that appears, and on that document are found in 2 locations, a letter A with the circle around it. Is that correct? Yes. Is that page number 22 where the A's are found? Yes. This is an instruction to the typing pool to show the property vested as is shown on page 25 between the 2 A's. Is that correct? Yes. All right. Below that, the box shows a number of alternative forms of holding title. Is that correct? Forms of holding title, yes. What does the word fee with a circle around it signify? It would be an owner, whereas the next one would be an easement, person by, known as easement. The next item would be the person that owns the leasehold or is part of a leasehold estate within the property. PCLs shown there mean what? For instance, you might have a legal description that encompasses 3 or 4 areas. So you might say parcel 1, parcel 2, and parcel 3. So we would identify what parcel that person has an interest in. We would have to add our own numerical numbers in there. Does that fact that the word fee has a circle around it constitute, in effect, an instruction to the typing pool to show that the vesting found between A and A is in fee simple? Yes. Now we can go to the fun part. Can you please just take one item, 1 through 10, in the next lower box and tell us what is indicated by the code shown there? Under item 1, a T5 represents a taxation code. Item number 2, there is then 11, and it says page 1. What does that mean? Okay, there again, the T and the numerical numbers 5 and 11 represents a taxation code. That information is found on page 1 of the taxation code of the preliminary title report. All right, item 2 says G1. Before we get too confused, we have referred to 2 things as a preliminary title report. I believe that Mr. Powers, when he says of the preliminary title report, is referring to the stack of materials for that date. We have also called that which is mailed to the customer as a preliminary title report. Just to be clear, what Mr. Powers means is that which appears in page 1 of the material provided to him by the searcher. Is that correct? Yes, I do. Okay, thank you very much. Now the page references that are in the right-hand side of the block, which we are reading, are references to pages within the packet of materials. Is that correct? Yes. I'm going to change transcripts, okay? I know that was very difficult, but you never know what you're going to hear. All right. All righty. This is going to be a little bit easier. This is, again, going to be defense questioning, but plaintiff jumps in, and it is a It is definitely deposition. Okay. I'm going to read this at 2:25. Would you state your name for the record, please? Sharon Lee Jessen. It's my understanding that a lawsuit was filed on your behalf at which you were using the name Buehler, Buehler. Yes. It's further my understanding that you've been asked questions about the lawsuit in connection with what happened about the accident. Yes. The purpose of today's inquiry or questions is to ask questions about if you were injured, how you were injured, and how you are doing. Do you have any questions about the nature of the deposition? No. You understand you are under oath? Yes. And there is a court reporter present? Yes. And you've talked to your lawyer about what we're doing here today? Yes. Do you have any questions about the procedures we're doing? No questions. If at any time you want to take a break, certainly speak up and we can pause, hesitate, or whatever. We are talking about an accident that occurred on April 8th of 2009. Yes. About what time of day? I'm just trying to get about what time of the day did the accident occur? Approximately between 2:30 and 3. In the morning or afternoon? Afternoon. Physically, were you in an automobile? Yes. Where were you seated? I was the driver. And did your car have an impact with some other car or something? Yes. What did the car have an impact with? Another car. As a result of the impact, what, if anything, happened to you physically? Anxiety, depression, headaches, nightmares, back pain, neck pain, confusion, memory loss? That just about covers it. Okay, but what, if anything, happened to you physically within the car as a result of the impact? As a result of the impact, I did hit my head. Do you know what you hit your head on? My head hit the roll bar. What kind of vehicle were you in? A convertible Corvette. Do you know the model of the car? I don't recall. Is that a car or a truck, or it is a small car? When you use the expression roll bar, where was that located? Just behind my head. With respect to the vehicle itself, was it towards the top of the vehicle or the back or the bottom or the front? It was in the middle. On top of the vehicle or on the bottom or right in the middle? It was over my head about that far. Did you ever lose consciousness as a result of the accident? I don't recall if I did. There was so much confusion. I could have. Did you see the impact between your car and the other vehicle? Well, at what time? As it occurred. No, it was behind me. Were you aware of when it happened in the sense that, gee, we've been hit? I'm not trying to trap you. Were you aware that an impact had occurred? Yes. And what made you aware of the impact? I lost control of my car. And what caused you to be aware that you lost control of the car? The car jumped and turned around the other way and I hit my head. On the roll bar? Uh-huh. Yes. How fast were you traveling at the time of the impact? Between 5 and 10 miles an hour. Do you have any estimate as to how fast the other car was traveling? No, pretty fast. You've had the impact and your head hit the roll bar as you described it. Do you recall your head actually hitting the roll bar? Yes. And after that happened, were you alert in the sense that you were aware of what was going on? Not completely. You were dazed? Yes. Was there an investigation of the accident by police officers? Yes. And did you talk to any of the police officers? Yes. And as far as you know, did you tell them whatever you knew about how the accident occurred? Yes. Did an ambulance or other emergency people come to the scene? Yes. And how did you leave the scene? I was carried to the ambulance. You left by ambulance? Yes. I was put on a gurney or a stretcher? Yes. At the time you were placed in the ambulance, I want to be flexible with you in the sense of what that question means. How did you feel? You described what you felt at the time your head hit the crossbar. How did you feel at the time I was hysterical, crying, scared, frightened. Physically, did you feel any pain or discomfort? Yes, I did. Okay, to what parts of your body? To my neck, my back, and an extreme headache. Had you ever had any problems with your neck or your back before the accident in the sense of having pain or discomfort? No. Had you ever had any problem with your back before the accident? No. What feelings did you have about your neck? What discomfort? It felt wrenched. Wrenched in the sense of like twisted? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. No, it felt painful when I would move it to the right or to the left, when I would turn my head. And this was at the accident scene? Yes. You mentioned having back pain. What part of your back had pain? The whole back had pain from the upper back to the lower back. Let me ask if I may. You first indicated the whole back, then the upper back, then the lower back. Are you talking about from your neck down to below your waistline? Yes. The whole back? Yes. Okay, on both sides of the back? It's hard to say both sides of the back. It was spasmodic, spasms, hurting spasms. But in a range from the neck down to the lower back? Yes. And where were you taken from the accident scene? To a hospital. Do you recall what hospital you were taken to? I think it had a president's name. and you were kept there as an in-bed patient? No. And how long were you at the hospital? 4 to 5 hours. And then you were taken to some other hospital? No. Where did you go from there? Home. And while you were there for the 4 to 5 hours, was that in the emergency room? Yes. Was that at the Eisenhower Hospital? That sounds about right. How did you get home? My husband picked me up. And what is his name? William Bueller. And were you married to him at that time? Yes. When did you marry Mr. Bueller? When? November the 9th, but I cannot remember the year. Do you recall which decade? The 80s, the 90s, anytime in the 2000s? In the 2000s. Are you still married to Mr. Bueller? No. How did that marriage dissolve? Divorce. And in what year? 2010. The year 2010? Yes, the year 2010. Do you recall what month? No, I do not. In what state was the marriage obtained? What state did we get married in? No, divorced. Oh, California. And in what county? I don't know if it was LA County or San Bernardino County. Did you file the petition to dissolve the marriage, or did your husband? It was joint. Who initiated the action? My husband, my ex-husband. And at that time, where did he reside? Where did he live? Yes, in Mount Baldy. So he was either Los Angeles, or maybe I can make it easier. It was in Los Angeles County in Pomona. In Pomona, yes. Okay, and do you know what year it was filed? No, counsel, but I'll tell you what. I'll leave a blank in the deposition and I'll get that for you. Okay, or you can inform us about that. I sure will. I'd appreciate that. And you married Mr. Bueller sometime in the 2000s and divorced in 2010? Had you been married before getting married to Mr. Bueller? Yes. How many times? One other time. And what was your previous husband's name? Paul Dinoff. Can you spell that name for us, please? Dinoff. And where did you marry Mr. Dinoff? Las Vegas. And what year? Approximately 1998. And do you know the state in which Mr. Dinoff was born? No. How did that marriage terminate? Divorce. Of what year? What year did I say we were married? 98, I believe. Approximately 2002. Did you have any children during the marriage with Mr. Dinoff? No. Do you have any children at all? No. Have you had any other marriages other than to Mr. Bueller and to Mr. Dinoff? No. What is your date of birth? 5/16/77. And where were you born? Riverside, California. What is your educational background? High school graduate. From what school? Colton Union High School. And in what year? 1995. You've indicated that at the time you had the accident, you felt pain in your neck and back and certain other areas of your body. You were then taken to the hospital, and it may be Eisenhower, but I'm not going to hold you to that. You were there 4 to 5 hours, and then you went home. You were taken home by your husband, Mr. Bueller. When did you next seek or obtain medical attention? Approximately 2, the day after or the day after that. I'm not positive. Where did you go to get that treatment? My family doctor. And who was that? It was Dr. Barrett. The spelling of his last name, please. Barrett, B-A-R-R-E-T-T, or B-A-R-R-E-T-T. I'm not sure. Do you know his first name or initials? No. Where was his office located? Altaloma. And you were taken from the hospital in the desert area to your home. What is that, in the Altaloma area? No. Was that your home at that time? Mount Baldy. Okay, what is the address there? I don't remember the address. Did you reside there before the accident occurred? Yes. And with whom did you reside? My husband, ex-husband. This is William Bueller. William Bueller. Did anyone else reside at that place of residence besides you and Mr. Bueller? No. Did he take you to see Dr. Barrett? Yes. And did you call to make an appointment to see him before? Yes. And do you recall what time of day you saw him or he saw you at his office? Afternoon. Had you seen Dr. Barrett before that day? Yes. When did you first see Dr. Barrett as a physician? Maybe 3 years prior. Was there any particular reason that you saw him 3 years earlier? Periodic illness, flu, and I'm not saying you had the flu, but colds and general health conditions? Yes, that is right. Did you see any other doctor during the 3-year period before the accident? No. All right. Let's see here. So I read that at 2:25. Some of it was even a little bit faster than 2:25, more like 2:30. So how'd that feel?
There were some rough spots for sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's.
I've been writing since about 8:30, so I think I'm just tired.
Yes, and that the First American Title one, that's definitely more challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I could tell by reading it that, but it's okay. It's still good practice.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you never know what they're going to throw your way.
No, I found a whole bunch of recordings today of like the warm-up material for the California test. So I've just been doing those and just trying to get back into it because the deposition ones,
Yes.
especially because they have then 2 defense attorneys. And so,
You know what I was thinking, Donna, that I could do?
uh-huh.
I was thinking I could take like a piece of tape and just put it over this and just put D2.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that way then you have a visual of, okay, defense 2. Maybe I'll do that then for our high speeds tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I'll do that. I'll put a piece of tape over that.
Yeah, I had an instructor years ago before I went to Sage who said if you go to CSR and they have a depo and you're not used to it, just use the court as just use it. So that's what I've been doing.
That's good for you. Okay, so do you want me just to leave it?
Yeah, you can leave it. I'll know what it means. I mean, unless somebody else, it might help somebody else though. So for me, I'm just using the court.
Okay.
I'll mess it up if I try to do.
Yeah. Maybe I will just put D2, and that way you can still put the court, but you'll know, okay, that's D2. Yeah. And also kind of get used to, because I know about a year ago they mixed everybody up. They moved everybody. I don't think, they said they'll never do that again, but you just never know, you know? So yes, just don't let it get you, you know, just say to yourself, okay, you know, there's 4 speakers here, you know, you got a plaintiff, a witness, and a D1, D2. Yeah. But I'll do that. I will definitely bring him in tomorrow. In fact, we'll spend the majority, I won't spend as much time on drills and jury charge, so we can do more of the, you know, the defense too.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be so helpful.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, Donna. Have a great day. And then I'll if I don't see you tomorrow, I mean, I'll be here recording. So, okay, sounds good. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, bye.